Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's Reading the Red this Monday morning, and a fine sunny Monday morning it is, but it is rather cold, but I do think it will warm up. Luke chapter 4 and verse 35. But Jesus rebuked him, and then in red, "Be quiet and come out of him," and then back in black. "And when the demon had thrown him down in the midst of the people, it came out without doing him any harm." So in red, "Be quiet and come out of him." Jesus was in the synagogue, and a demon began to manifest and say things. Things like, "I know who you are, Jesus. You're the Son of God." And he began to proclaim the reality of Jesus' identity in front of the people long before Jesus was prepared to reveal himself as God to the nations. But this whole idea of an evil spirit living in a person has really confused the Church of Jesus Christ for so many years. And they've gone on all kinds of weird and wonderful journeys. But the reality is we are a spirit being, we are a physical being, and we are a soul being. That's who we are as human beings. But the reality of what God made before he made us was the reality of a spiritual encounter. So God made spiritual beings. And the book of Ezekiel tells us that a third of these angelic beings rebelled against God in heaven, and as a result of that, they lost their way in their relationship with God and were cast down to the earth. They were no longer worthy to be in God's presence, and therefore they came to the earth, and they did the damage to the earth long before humanity was created. And these evil spirits, who are disembodied, they have no bodies, are looking for bodies to manifest themselves in. And the nature of an unclean spirit is the very attribute of its character. So a spirit of fear, a spirit of lust, a spirit of intimidation, a spirit of control, a religious spirit. These are all manifestations of the nature character of that evil spirit. And these spirits have associated themselves with humanity, with human beings. As human beings have given themselves over to the inappropriate attributes of negativity in their nature and character, they've allowed themselves to become friends with evil spirits. Now, they don't realize they're spirits, but they are. And they live and they take control of human life, even Christians. A Christian can be demonized, and there can be that sense of being controlled by evil, even in the Christian. But here, Jesus in the synagogue, revealing the reality of the good things regarding setting the captives free, is now presented with an opportunity to offer that freedom to someone who is demonized and in bondage to the very thing that Jesus came to release people from. And Jesus declares to this demon, "Be quiet and come out of him." With a word, he spoke with authority, and he drove those demons out because he had the capacity to do so, because he knew who he was and he knew who they were, and they had to obey him, because James tells us that at the name of Jesus, even the demons shudder. Brothers and sisters, we need to be free from demons. I've called them frenemies because they associate themselves, masquerade themselves to our lives, even as Christians, as our friends, but they're not our friends. They're our enemies. But they're masquerading themselves as friends, and they're manifesting themselves in our lives. And we need to be rid of them. And Jesus says, "Be quiet and come out of them." Thank you for joining me. Be blessed. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.